Welcome back to Big Movie Mouth Off, the podcast where three Salt Lake City-based critics get frosty about film. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
It is episode 45. I told you the last time we recorded that we were going to be back fairly quickly because things are coming at us hot and heavy right now.
Yep.
I don't know about you guys, but my list of things I need to watch in the next month far exceeds the number of days I have.
Yeah, there's a lot on there, and there's some stuff we still haven't gotten yet. So I did finally see K-pop Demon Hunters. It was fun.
I think it's great.
It was kind of interesting because there were so many songs I knew from it that I didn't know were from it because it was just randomly on Spotify.
Right.
So the song would come on. I'm like, oh, I know this song. I know this song.
Good animation. The songs are fun. I enjoyed it very much. Well, we're not talking about K-pop Demon Hunters officially on this episode. We're going to talk instead about Wicked for Good, the conclusion of the cinematic adaptation of the hit Broadway play. And then we'll talk about the latest Rian Johnson Knives Out mystery, Wake Up Dead Man. First up is Wicked 2. Before Adam takes us through that one, let's hear some of the trailer.
I'm a public figure now. People expect me to fly. Be encouraging.
You can't resist this.
Who could?
You know who could.
There's a house, and it's flying through the sky. I'm off to see the wizard.
Adam, take it away.
All right. Well, this takes place sometime after the first one. We have the Wicked Witch of the West, still played by Cynthia Erivo, going out there fighting for the animals, trying to kind of overturn all the stuff the wizard's doing because we know he's a bad guy. Glinda, played by Ariana Grande Butera, is now kind of like his spokesperson. She's out there trying to rally the troops and make sure everyone's happy because that's all that matters is being happy. Well, the wizard still wants to make sure that he can, bring in Elphaba, the Wicked Witch, to kind of be in his clutches. Almost gets there, and then things go awry. We go back and touch on some very classic characters that randomly show up, and we sit there and wonder why a 60-minute act 2 of a Broadway musical is now 2.5 hours long.
Well, Adam started his review early, Brooks. I feel unqualified to have strong opinions about this property because I'm not a musical guy. I'm not a Broadway guy. It's just not my world. That being said, I did go into the first movie with a very open mind, and I enjoyed it very much. But Adam, you did hit on what I think is one of the biggest issues with the second film, and it's that it feels very padded. There's a lot of static expository filler in this second movie because, as you stated, the second act is about an hour long. So to get a 2.5-hour film out of that required a lot of expansion. And I don't think it helps this movie at all. Brooks, we'll let Adam have his moment soon, but do you agree that this movie felt padded and a little bit overstuffed?
It felt padded and there were weird moments where people were kind of just like doing nothing. But overall, I'm in a huge minority and I actually really liked this a lot.
I was expecting you to hate it.
I
was
hate
telling
the
people how
first
much you
one.
hated it.
I hate the first half, I guess. Not even half, just whatever, part one, whatever they want to call it. I hate it. I still hate it. I hated it walking out. I hated it even more after watching the Honest trailer this week because it reminded me of every single reason I hate it. I'm not going to review it again because we did last year, but if you want to get a quick review from me, just watch the Honest trailer. But
Knock
for
me
this
over
one...
with a feather, Brooks, because you're shocking me right now because
I know.
I feel like the material they have to work with in Act 2 is so much less good than Act 1. Not only is the story less interesting, in my opinion, the song quality goes way down in Act 2, in my opinion. And now I realize I'm treading into very dangerous waters. Broadway fans are going to probably find me and
They'll swat you.
They'll find you up
do
there,
some
especially in
harm
Jackson,
to me.
man.
But I think that the material that they were starting with for this film was already at a deficit. But why did you like it so much more than the first, Brooks?
I think maybe what happened was I wasn't expecting a lot from the music. And so for me, what I got was just kind of, it was fine, which works. But I think also the biggest thing that works for me is that the first part felt like it was trying to do everything in its power to pretend that it wasn't the Wizard of Oz, that it just was like, I don't know, bigger than that, better than that it wasn't that, and it just kept treading around it. And now it finally gets to be that, where I knew that's what it was going to be. That's what it should have been. And I feel like had this been one movie, I may have actually like loved the entire thing. I probably wouldn't have hated the first part as much as I do, where it would have been like, okay, now it gets to be what it's supposed to be. It can be the Wizard of Oz. We get Dorothy and all of her cohorts off to see the wizard, and we get an ending, and the credits rolled, and I was finally satisfied.
Adam, Brooks and I are diametrically opposed on this. He really appreciates the fact that For Good embraces its Wizard of Oz roots. I felt like the thing was stretched so far that it couldn't help but be too thin. So which one of us is right?
Well, first of all, I got a text about 4 people and tell them I was wrong about how you thought about it, Brooks, because I thought you stormed out very, very angry. So I think it falls squarely in the middle of kind of where both of you are, because we kind of briefly talked, Counts, you and I, afterwards. But the biggest problem this movie ever had before it even got made was by splitting it in two and making the second act its own movie. The second act is very much the lesser act of the two. I mean, there's no Defying Gravity. I mean, you do have No Good Deed, which is the showstopper of the second act. Of course, you have For Good, which is kind of like that sweet, melancholy, bittersweet thing you put at the end of the movie and the musical. But overall, it just kind of exists to go plot beat to plot beat, song to song to song, roll credits, and you're done. And it doesn't do that here. I mean, there's a couple extra songs they threw in because they have to do it for the Academy Award. They didn't add anything to it. You could have left them out and I wouldn't have batted an eye because no one cares. We got some flashbacks we didn't need. There was a lot of moments where it was like they stretched the scene out just to make it longer, where I think, like you said, people were just kind of standing around, didn't really make too much sense. And again, it just kind of made it feel like, well, you're paying $20 for a movie ticket. We want you to get your money's worth out of it, when you could have shortened this down easily to an hour and a half. And I've been saying it for a long time. If you would have just done a straight up 3-hour movie and
Totally.
done the whole musical, it would have been amazing.
Yep.
And Brooks, I think you'd be as much in love with it as you think you would.
Yeah,
But they
or
didn't
as
do it.
They want me to.
Yeah, and we know it's because of money. It always comes down to that. This has already made $200 and some million. It'll make more next weekend when everyone's hanging out for the holidays and you're tired of your, evil uncle going off the dinner table. So let's go watch a movie. So shut up. But that being said, it's not bad. Like, I did enjoy it. As a big fan of the musical, I think Ariana Grande, Butera, and Cynthia Erivo, they're amazing. Even though it was filmed back to back, Ariana Grande seems like she's a much more confident actor this time around. Like,
Yeah.
she kind of fell into her role and it wasn't just aping Kristen Chenoweth. She actually made, like, Glinda her own character. Cynthia Erivo is always amazing. Like, she can go do anything she wants and I'll watch it. So there are some really bright parts to it, but in the end, it should have just been the second act of the first movie and not its own thing.
I think a tighter script, an hour and a half long experience would have done the story so much good. Because you're right, Cynthia Erivo is great. This is an impossible role to take on, and she absolutely owns it. And I do think Ariana Grande established herself in this second movie as the right choice for a cinematic Glinda. Jeff Goldblum was fine. Oddly, some of the other story beats, some of the other plot lines are rushed in a movie that's so padded out. The thing between Elphaba and Fiyero is so rushed, it doesn't resonate at all. What happens with Bach? So fast, so rushed, you don't get a chance to even breathe, and then it's done. For them to stretch things so thin and then to have other things get absolutely no attention, I thought was very strange. Now, I know they're trying to focus on the two mains, the two leads, Brooks, because I'm sure you agree that their performances are great, but the other characters deserved a moment too.
Yeah, especially with them trying to tie it and be, knee deep in the Wizard of Oz scenarios. And one of the things that was really weird is when it gets to that random bow chicka bow wow moment, which I'm sure is in, the
It's
book.
in the book. It's
And
definitely
I'm
in the
sure
book.
it's in the stage play, but it feels so out of place in this that there's at least one thing they could have tightened up, cut out. I don't know. It's just
That's really important for the sequel. So the second book was called Son of a Witch. So I'll let you figure
Okay,
out.
well, we can
okay.
do the math on that, but all the more
Yeah.
reason, Adam, not to rush towards that moment, to give it some time to actually resonate with the
feels
viewer.
like they gave it too much time, honestly.
Well,
but it gets a whole song.
The moment itself, yes, but the lead up to it, is what I'm talking about. They
Okay,
don't
yeah.
build anything. So at the end of the first movie, you get a sense that there's something between them, right? You're supposed to.
And then they're
But then
like,
that
yes,
something
there is.
between them
Here it
is just
is.
suddenly, okay, it's here. We're a couple now.
Some movies are okay to handle something like that, but not in this kind of world.
I guess.
Well, and see, that's my biggest problem with this is that, yeah, again, 60-minute second act, like they go that fast in the Broadway show. You have to.
Yeah.
But with this one, because they did stretch out so much, like, yeah, of course, why couldn't you take that moment? Okay, they hook up, and we already kind of know that's what's going to happen, right? Again, the lead up to it, the actual moment, the after part of it, you could have had that more development there, which you don't get. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jonathan Bailey is officially the sexiest man alive, and he can take off his shirt whenever he wants. But the parts that matter, like Bach and the other moments where they should have spent more time, they didn't. And yes, you can blame the musical because that's how it originally was, but you're adapting the musical and you have your own chance to put your spin on it and do different things. And when they did do that, they focused on the wrong things, plumped up the story, like the flashback. No one cares. No one cares about Glinda's first birthday, whatever it was, where she can't use magic. You didn't need that. You already had their character development. You knew who they were. Show us these other people who we've only gotten to know through maybe one or two songs and give us why they're important.
Yeah. This movie could have been better if it expanded the time from the middle out.
All of this reminds me exactly of the comment I made to you because the Tin Man's in the middle of his song and it sounds like it's over. Then they cut to the new song and you get that entire sequence. Then it goes immediately back to him finishing up his song. I turned to you and I said, that song's still going? So that's exactly what we're talking about.
I
It's
think
like-
that's what you're supposed to assume with this, Brooks, is that there's a lot of stuff happening in the background that you're just supposed to trust. And the plot is moving. You just aren't being allowed to see it because we have to watch long, very important moments between the two leads. Now, I don't want it to sound like I had a terrible time with this movie because I really did not. It looks unbelievable. I think
way
the
better
FX
than the first one.
the FX definitely, Brooks. I totally agree. I think the FX land in a way on this second one because they show a little bit more of Oz. And Oz as a concept and as a visual palette is stunning. I really enjoyed looking at it. And I think that the CG of Elphaba flying looks really great. What did you guys think of how it looked?
I agree. I thought the first one had a weird look to it, kind of desaturated almost, where it should have been, it's the Wizard of Oz. It's supposed to be bright and bubbly and shiny, and this one at least looked more so. It didn't look so drab. It felt more alive. Although when they were on sets, you definitely could tell they were on sets, which is fine because it's a Broadway musical.
Some of it
So-
had a soundstage feeling to it
Yeah.
for sure. But I agree that the first one felt drab, Adam, because to me it felt animated. It didn't feel three-dimensional. This one does.
Well, yeah, and you had the problem in the first one where you had the whole train that they take to Oz that looks like it's CGI, and it was real. They built the stupid thing,
Yeah.
but it kind of felt like they didn't know how to
Finish.
approach it in the first one. It almost felt like
Yeah.
like they were wondering how they can make this land the way they want. Again, they filmed them back to back, so they should have been able to learn as they went. But what was interesting about this is, yeah, it's a gorgeous world. Like they make Oz fully realized. I love how it looks. And for considering how dark the story is, it's actually, again, the setting's so bright. Now, Elphaba's castle is awesome. It looks like an Elden Ring set. Like you're going to go fight Godric or something like that
Yeah.
in there. And that, again, was the standout song. It was letting her kind of become the Wicked Witch of the West. It's both horrifying and heartfelt, and you really identify. Like if everything I was trying to do right just turned wrong, and I'm like, well, am I trying to do right because it is a good thing to do, or am I just doing it because I guess I can, or I don't know if I should? Like that's a moral quandary that I think a lot of people face, and it only takes one bad day to become a villain. And she's had multiple bad days. I think it's also a testament to her character about how long she lasted before she finally threw up her hands and said, screw it. And even then, she wasn't evil. Like going back to how overstuffed it is, but it doesn't take the time to develop, is her turning to the dark side and back to the light side was faster than Anakin turning to the dark side in Revenge of the Sith.
Totally. I completely agree.
Like 1 second I'm bad, then I'm good, then I'm sad, and then and the last scene where she melts is done almost exactly how it's done in the Broadway show. It's a very interesting choice for them to do that because you have to do it on stage for the special effects and everything
Sure.
else going on. And you could have done it differently. So I did like the fact that they kept that homage to the actual play.
I had a feeling that's how it was originally done because of
Yeah.
how it looked.
They pull a sheet across and you see the shadows behind it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
silhouettes.
I did really appreciate that. I thought that was a nice touch because they could have just gone and done the CG and I'm not
Hmm.
Tain and all that stuff, but they really kept the spirit there. I will say that there's a character at the very, very end whose face has to be CGI, and if it's not, fire that makeup artist.
You mean the Deadpool lookalike?
Oh my God, it was
He
horrible.
looks like Deadpool. It's really
It
weird.
did. It was very, very hard to watch, and I was like, that took me out of the moment incredibly fast. But no, I really did have a good time with it. I did enjoy it. Like maybe they'll do the Kill Bill like they're going to do soon with Wicked. I
True.
think that'd be kind of fun.
Maybe.
But I still really feel it should have been one long movie instead of two long movies.
Well, what's your score, Adam?
2.5. Because again, I didn't dislike it. As a big fan of the musical, the performances were great. They delivered on everything we were looking for. I just feel there was too much added that we didn't need, and the stuff that could have been important wasn't, and what was important wasn't fully touched on.
I couldn't say it better. I'm also at 2.5 for all the same reasons. I will say that one thing I'm happy they did. You may or may not recall when the first movie was announced, they made a poster that was designed to look like the poster of the Broadway
Oh,
show.
yeah.
It was a huge internet nonsense
Yeah.
controversy. And stay to the end because they redeem the poster in a really, really beautiful way. So that's all I'll say. And I love
And in
that.
some ways, kind of a middle finger to everyone who was,
Absolutely.
who was
As they
complaining.
should.
Absolutely. So 2.5 also for me. Brooks?
I'll be the weird one out on this. I'm gonna go with three. Three broom sweeps for me. I don't know why it worked. Maybe it's also because it's finally over. I don't know.
You have totally surprised Adam and I
I
both. So
know.
Brooks, you're at 3. I'm at 2.5. Adam?
Also 2.5.
All right. We're going to come back and talk about Wake Up Dead Man, the latest Benoit Blanc mystery directed by Ryan Johnson. Before Brooks takes us through that non-spoiler synopsis, here's some of the trailer.
Everyone thinks I did it. I didn't do it.
This goes way beyond normal police work. This is something even I have not experienced. A perfectly impossible crime.
This case is solvable, right?
I'm incapable of not solving a crime. Oh, you'll see. It's fun.
Wicks had a vast family fortune.
Okay, Brooks, what can you say about this movie without giving anything away?
Benoit Blanc is back to solve another murder. As only Ryan Johnson could write.
I mean,
it,
yeah,
for better
that's-
and worse.
That
That
really
might be the
is
shortest synopsis we've ever had.
well, and it's probably the most apt. It takes place in a church in a small town. And I really don't want to say more than that because you need to watch it to see for yourself how things unfold. My first comment about this experience is that I feel like this Knives Out thing has run its course. And I know, Brooks, that you don't agree. I can see it on your face. You want to jump through the screen right now. I feel like this movie wasn't as fun as the first two. It was silly. It crossed that little Rubicon between fun and silly. And I think they make a huge mistake by not having Benoit Blanc in the movie very much. There are huge long stretches, including the entire opening act, where he is not involved at all. I don't know if he had another project going on and this is all the time they could get with him. And that's the reason also for the terrible haircut. I don't know. But it seemed like he was a supporting character and not a main character. And speaking of the characters, I don't feel like they were characters. One of the things that worked so well about the first two movies is that the characters felt like people you might actually meet. These felt like caricatures, like cartoons. All right, that's my speech. Who wants to go next?
Maybe let Adam go.
Because you're like,
Brooks
Because then
wants
I
to-
can just decide what's left to say.
You want to be mad at me. That's why you want Adam to go.
Well, we know how much I hate the first movie, so.
I know, and you're wrong about that. So tell me why this one worked for you.
All right, fine. I don't know. It was more like the second one. It's fast paced. It's funny. Like I said, for better and worse, Ryan Johnson loves to, I don't know, hear himself talk even if through his own characters. My main gripe is that I couldn't tell whether he was embracing or making fun of religion. And it was like a weird mix of both. And so it's like sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, but then he would hit a nail on the head and then he would flip that around and yank the nail back out. So that's kind of my main gripe with the movie is that tonally for the plot, he was very wishy-washy. I don't know. I like the cast. I like the jokes. There were some hilarious lines in there that I'm sure at least Adam was probably gonna lay on someone at some point.
I totally agree with you, Brooks, about the tone slippage. And I think that is partially the fault of not having just one person deliver the tone. These movies in the past have all been delivered through the perspective of Benoit Blanc. This one, the entire first part is his name Josh O'Connor? Forgive me. Yeah. The entire
Yes.
first part is Josh O'Connor. And then there's another character who sort of speaks the conclusion at the end. Benoit's just watching with us. And I think that's part of why the tone slips a little bit. Adam, break the logjam again. What's wrong with me and Brooks?
It's kind of like every single movie we're trying to find a crime or a murder Benoit Blanc cannot solve. And that's leading up to this. And there's certain moments where he says, I don't think I can solve this. He spends his time waiting and going back to like how much he wasn't in it. I mean, he got paid $100 million to do Knives Out 2 and 3. So it's not as if he couldn't have been available. Like he should have been available.
He should be earning that.
They made him the supporting character in his own movie. And if anything, I think Josh O'Connell as Reverend Judd, Father Judd, he's the main character of anyone.
Absolutely.
He's the one
narrates
who
the whole
carries
movie.
Yeah, he narrates the movie. He carries the story. He's the one who gives the clues to Benoit Blanc, who kind of helps him maybe solve the thing. I'm not going to say more because that
Helps
that
carry
is-
things along.
He moves the story along, and that's not his job. His job is to, in a sense, like going back to like you said, Counts, being the Greek chorus, because he's the one who's filling in stuff and knows what happened and is telling the story. And he's also the one who's interesting because he's the priest who really shouldn't be a priest. I mean, he mentioned that he was a boxer and he killed someone in the ring, and he says bad words every so often and makes jokes. And I did like the fact that it shows priests as normal people and not just these
Yes.
stuffy people in collars. Like that was a nice, way to kind of be like, no, they'll call people jerks and other things because they
Yeah.
are. I didn't really care about Josh Brolin's character. He was annoying, but he dies, so who cares? It's in the trailer, so don't worry, I didn't give a plot point away.
We always know who dies.
Yeah, it's easy to tell. But the biggest sin this has is the ending, and then second of all, not making Benoit Blanc the main character in his own movie.
Well, one of the things I think this movie does right, Brooks, and I want to see if we can find some common ground here. You're right about the commentary, the religious commentary that I think Ryan is weaving into this plot. And one of the great choices he makes is that it's shot very claustrophobically. Like
Yeah.
every time they're in a space, the walls feel close. Even when they're outside, this area is full of trees and the trees feel close. It feels very much like it's closing in around the
Like
characters
a
at all
bubble
times.
movie or something.
Exactly, like a bubble plot. And I'm not sure if that was his commentary about religion and how it can feel overwhelming sometimes, how the pressures and
Keep you
the
boxed in.
Exactly. But this movie does that to the viewer by making sure that all of the sets, all of the shots are very claustrophobic.
I will be honest, I kept thinking maybe the movie was in the wrong aspect ratio.
Interesting.
It kept calling attention to me. I would be watching a scene and I'd be like, you just notice where the screen ends
Yeah.
or how it might be kind of cutting off the top of someone's head where it feels like there maybe should be more space. So
One of the things that Ryan Johnson does so well is set scenes, right? He's got very beautifully composed shots. He knows how to make a movie look good.
I didn't have any problems with the visual standpoint or even the script because I did get the undertones. And I think we've already kind of talked about it a bit, how the way he framed the shots reinforces the themes he's trying to get across. But I thought it was great. Like when you're in the church, and Counts, you said before, churches are always kind of scary. And the scene where they're trying to figure out this guy died, how to go. I mean, it's a gorgeous shot. Like it's just like we said with Wicked, it's a gorgeous movie. And even when it's like in the rain and muddy and gross, like it looks beautiful.
and you can
And-
always see what's going on.
Yeah, there was never a time, and that's one thing with Wicked that was kind of annoying too, was anytime you had someone in profile, it was always this bright light like in the background shining in your eyes. And like even though it was black and muddy and dark and rainy, like you could still tell every single thing was going on. So from the cinematography and from that aspect of movie making, I liked it. And again, I don't want people to think I hated this movie. I didn't. It's just for me, it was the lesser of the three movies, the least for me of the three movies, for reasons we can't discuss here. But from that pure cinematography and the shots and lighting, everything else, that was great. There are scenes where you feel like not just that it's shot like you're claustrophobic, but you're literally in a closet and you kind of want to hunch your shoulders in because you feel like you're in the closet with the inspectors or the priests and everyone else, and like you feel like you're going to bump someone if you move.
Wonder if some of this is from his episode of Breaking Bad.
Maybe. I mean,
'Cause it's kind of the same as that, where they were just stuck
Yeah.
down in the basement,
Down in the basement,
lab,
yeah.
and
talk about a bubble plot, right?
yeah, that too.
If crime scenes are often depicted as sort of a diorama, that's a common trope in film and television. The structure of this movie, I think, was beautiful, but the people that Ryan put into it weren't, in my opinion. And look, I realize with this sort of Clue-esque story, there's archetypes. Each character is going to be kind of one note. That's the way they're written. That's the way they're designed. That's the way these plots are propelled. I felt like in the first two, though, the actors were able to bring something a little bit extra to the performances, like they were having fun with it. This one, I'm going to repeat myself, but it felt silly instead of fun. I felt like the one-noteness of the way the characters were written was absolutely accepted credibly and just delivered exactly as written by the actors. In some cases, egregiously so.
I mean, the cast is always fine with these movies. I would have to say Glass Onion is probably still my favorite. And yeah, I can see how they maybe in this one were more directed to just deliver what was on paper, because it kind of feels that way. And I mean, my biggest issue with the whole movie, if I had a big issue, is the end, because it just goes on and on and on. But not even in like a Lord of the Rings kind of way.
I knew you were going to go there. That's the most famous bad ending in movie history.
It's just, it focuses on one thing and lingers. And I was like, I thought it was over. And there's still a bunch of time left.
We talked about tighter script for Wicked, for Good. This movie definitely could have used a tighter script as well. And Adam, I'm curious what you think the chances are that I have just successfully, over the last 12 minutes, talked down Brooks's score.
I don't know. Like, he was castigating us in our group text after we left.
Yes, he
I
was.
think there is the same chance of Benoit Blanc fully figuring out this murder of him lowering his score.
Well, look, it's at least once a month that Brooks tells one or both of us that we just don't like fun. And I think this was one of those.
It's the end of the year. You're allowed to be pretentious. It's okay.
I'm pretentious all year, Brooks, but it's just
One
louder
of us
than
has
ever.
to be.
Well, let's get to scores on this. We don't want to give away any more of the plot than we already have and let people decide for themselves. I will go first and say that for me, this movie is a straight down the middle 2-star experience. Not terrible, just not nearly what I was hoping for based on what I was given in the first two. So 2 stars for me. Adam, where are you?
2 stars. Again, I wasn't offended by it. There are some fun moments. I do enjoy. I think the script was overall pretty good for the dialogue, if not for the actual action that was taking place. Josh O'Connell's fantastic. I had a great time with him. And for the times he was on screen, Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc is always a crowd pleaser. I would like to see more in this world because I think it's interesting, but
It's coming.
I'm sure it is, because I mean, they make money and everyone wants to go see him, but I need him to go back to his roots and give us what made the first two, or at least the first two in our opinion, not so much Brooks, so enjoyable.
So Brooks, my impassioned critique took you from 5 out of 4 stars to what?
Oh, I was never a 5 out of 4.
We're not allowed to be.
Where are you?
But it was fun. I had a lot of fun. It moves at a fast pace. The dialogue's as quippy as we expect it to be. The direction was on point, especially with his cinematography. He does love to hear himself talk, and it's kind of funny because while we were talking, it made me think that maybe he wanted this one to feel more like a play adaptation, maybe, because it's long-winded.
Yeah.
Takes place in very few settings, but overall, I don't know. I'm still having fun. I still like the world. I want more, and as long as it isn't as odd as the first one was, I'll be nice and put it that way. I'm gonna give this one 3.
3. Okay. Good score from Brooks.
Yeah.
3 stars. Adam, you're at?
2 stars.
And I'm also at 2 stars for Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. I didn't say so in the opening, but the guilty pleasure this week is based on Wake Up Dead Man. And it's a very strange guilty pleasure because this movie had 2 Marvel alums in it. It had Josh Brolin, of course, who played Thanos, and it had Jeremy Renner, who played Hawkeye. So we came up with the idea of Guilty Pleasure Marvel Alumni Edition. These are films, doesn't matter when they happened, pre or post MCU, but they star at least 2 MCU alums. I can't wait to see what you guys came up with because there are at least 100 of these to choose from. We'll get to that momentarily after a short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to episode 45 of Big Movie Mouth Off. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Guilty Pleasures, Marvel Alumni Edition. Brooks, what did you come up with?
Well, mine won't surprise you, and I can't believe I haven't used it for anything else, but it is 2017's Kong Skull Island.
Excellent. Say who's
That's
in
a
it
good
so
one.
we know.
I know. I mean, when was the last time we saw Loki, Nick Fury, Captain Marvel, and Corpseman Roman Day all go gorilla hunting together?
That's a good one. That's not just two people. That's a bonus of
Yeah,
at
Thor,
least
baby.
4. That movie is actually, I think, pretty good.
Well, it kind of launched the Monarch universe, didn't it?
Totally. Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
what really kickstarted it into
Yeah.
high gear.
Adam, what'd you come up with?
So mine includes Mark Ruffalo and Robert Downey Jr. And I kind of feel like this is the 2007 forgotten movie by David Fincher, Zodiac.
No, it's not.
Zodiac. So good.
I have the director's cut.
Right, but the thing is, if you go talk to an average person, they don't know what it is.
You're
Oh,
totally right about
I
that.
was
have-
obsessed with this movie. I don't know what
Yeah.
it says about me, but
But this is the one that, it's about, back in the 70s trying to find the Zodiac killer, and it was the partnership between the police and also the journalists who were getting the Zodiac's letters in the mail. And it's almost shot, makes it feel like a documentary, because like they were Fincher was very specific, like down to the pencils they used. They were the exact same brand, type, everything that was used in the 70s. And spoiler alert, they really don't figure out who it is. They kind of have a idea towards the end. And I think they just deciphered the final Zodiac letter recently. It's one that you walk out with shivers down your spine. It's classic David Fincher. More people need to see it. And yeah, we've got the Hulk and Iron Man. In this
and Mysterio.
Oh, and Mysterio too. Oh yeah, so I got a three-peat there too. So there we go.
Mine only has 2. And I went a lot more obscure than the two of you, but I did
4-3-2.
I did so because I wanted to get a double GP. So not only is it a Marvel alum, but it's a movie about a priest. I know you're thinking that I'm going with Preacher, that wonderful series that was on for a couple seasons. I'm not. I'm talking about the movie called Priest from 2011. It starred Paul Bettany,
Yeah.
who of course is Vision, and it had Carl Urban in it, who people forget played Scourge in Ragnarok. So
Yeah.
those are my 2. It's basically he's a badass priest who has to kill a bunch of vampires. It's a totally ridiculous setup, but it's so cool. It's kind of a dystopian Western. He looks great. The fight choreography is really fun. It's a lot of CG and not all of it's great, if I'm honest, but the movie is a lot more fun than it has any right to be. Paul Bettany, Carl Urban are my 2. The movie was 2011's Priest. What was yours, Adam?
2007's Zodiac
With who?
with Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo.
And Brooks, yours? The 4-peat?
2017's Kong Skull Island with Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, Brie Larson, John C. Reilly.
All right, before we let everyone go and take a break from Brooks and I fighting over everything, let's talk about our coming attractions. Brooks, what are you looking forward to?
So I'm surprised I haven't brought it up like Kong, but it is Robert Eggers' Werewolf, and it's gonna have Aaron Taylor Johnson, Lily Rose Depp, Willem Dafoe, all of your favorite Nosferatu cast members. They're getting the band back together, and this time it's 13th century England with mysterious creatures in the foggy countryside. And it comes out Christmas 2026.
I haven't seen it yet. I already like it better than Wolfman, which we talked about.
Yeah.
Was that last year?
That was
or
like
the
one
year
of our.
before?
That was
one
this
of our.
year.
No, Wolfman was.
Yes, it was
Was
January.
it? Oh, it was okay.
Was it
I had
January?
forgotten about it.
Yeah, another one that I have a place in my heart for.
I know you do, Brooks. That movie feels like
don't
it happened
care.
10 years ago for me because it was not very good. But this, awesome. I totally agree with you. You know what an Eggers guy I am, so I'm there with you on this. What are you looking forward to, Adam?
So this is a video game. I will actually believe it when I play it, much the same as I feel about Grand Theft Auto 6. But it was announced back at E3 2017. The whole game got scrapped and then remade from scratch. And I'm talking about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond.
Oh.
So
That is one of the most talked about properties in gaming right now.
yeah, Metroid Prime was came out on the GameCube. It was a first-person shooter, which everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Metroid! How dare you do that?" Masterpiece of a game. It's now been 18 years since Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. This one, I've seen some gameplay for it. You actually run into people, like there's NPCs in it. You get a cool like Tron bike that you can zip around on. It's a lot more open world. You have psychic powers. Fingers crossed. I mean, it is. I think Retro Studios did it again. It's supposedly December 4th, but I will believe it when I sit down and hit start and jump into the game.
My coming attraction, it comes out in May of next year, is Mandalorian and Grogu. And I'm saying it for two reasons. One, because I'm genuinely excited for this film. I just saw the trailer for it this week. They showed it before one of the advanced screeners we're allowed to see. It looks like exactly what I want from Mandalorian and Grogu. And I'm saying it also just to sort of rub it in the face of all the Star Wars haters out there, of which there are more millions than can be counted. I think this franchise is doing just fine. Not everything is perfect, but there are things like The Acolyte, which are excellent, that get thrown into the garbage because people just refuse to stop complaining. And I'm just going to speak up on behalf of this property for as long as I'm allowed to, because it's the principal mythology of my childhood. I'm an old guy, and I'm going to defend it.
Mandalorian always manages to do right.
I think so too. Season 3, maybe not as good as the other two, but I'm looking forward to this movie. So mine is Mandalorian and Grogu, the cinematic Star Wars story that's opening in, I think at this point, May of 2026. Yours, Adam, was?
Before I go back to mine, I want to go back to the Star Wars thing. I had a friend talk about this. Like the Star Wars universe right now, it's almost like you're at an all-you-can-eat buffet. You go up there, and guess what? I love orange chicken. I'm going to eat orange chicken. Well, you know what, Brooks? Maybe you don't like orange chicken. You're going to go get the Mongolian beef, but that doesn't mean you're going to fight to get the orange chicken off the menu. And that's kind of how we've gotten with Star Wars nowadays. So, okay, off my soapbox, because I feel the same as you, Counts. Mine is on December 4th, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond.
And Brooks?
Christmas Day next year's Robert Eggers Werewolf.
I think those are three things that everybody should be looking forward to.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys what I'm looking forward to, which is the next time I can talk about movies with you. That's going to be in a couple of weeks. Until then, I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Thank you for being with us. Big Movie Mouth Off was produced and edited by me, Jeff Counts, and co-hosted by Adam McDonald and Brooks Bird. Our theme music is written by Brian Z. Richards, and this show is dedicated to the memory of our founders, Jeff Michael Weiss, and my partner in crime for over 5 years, the incomparable Jimmy Martin.